Hey everyone, do you feel overwhelmed when it comes to makeup? I know a lot of people do. Well, Charlotte Tilbury has bottled 30 years of artistry into easy to choose, easy to use beauty products, and you cannot go wrong. They are flattering for everyone, everywhere, and that's the reason why she is the queen of glow. Her rigorous standards ensure that every product is designed and formulated for performance like nothing else on the market. Take her iconic Hollywood Flawless Filter. With one product, you can blur, smooth, and illuminate the look of skin. Plus, it's skincare infused for clinically proven hydration for up to 24 hours. From red carpets to influencers' bathrooms, her legendary icons have gone viral for making everyone look and feel like the most beautiful, confident version of themselves. So, Charlotte Tilbury is performance you can trust. It's legendary for a reason. You can use code CTPodcast15, that's CTPodcast15, for 15% off on charlottetilbury.com. Plus, new account holders get free delivery. This ad is brought to you by Charlotte Tilbury USA, customers only, and valid until March 2nd, 2025. For full T&Cs and exclusions, see the Charlotte Tilbury website. Needs to do a podcast since she never got her due. She's a big lesbian and a loudmouth Jew. With a gasket always ready to blow, you're listening to Judy's show. Who? Judy's show. Wait a minute, who are you talking about? Oh, she's an asshole. What is wrong with you? Oh, you suck. So long. Fuck off. Hey everyone, welcome to It's Judy's Show with Judy Gold. I am your host, Judy Gold, and this week we have part 2 of my interview with Mimi Zieman, whose book, Tap Dancing on Mount Everest, is just fantastic. It's just an incredible story, but she's also a healthcare provider, an OBGYN, an abortion provider. And her story and her, it's sort of a warning about what's going to happen and is happening. And it's just with women's healthcare. And it's just such an important topic. So I hope you enjoy that today. Let me tell you my gigs. Not a lot, but working on a bunch of stuff. But February, I think it's the 1st. Oh, I have it on the 2nd. I'm going to look. I think it's the 2nd. I am in Tarrytown at the Shames Jewish Community Center. The Shames Jewish Community Center in Tarrytown, New York. It's going to be a great, great gig. They have a brand new theater. We're popping the cork. I mean, I'm sure someone's already been in the theater, but, I'm the first comic. So I'm very, very excited about that. And I'm going to be going into the play My First Ex-Husband, written by Joy Behar. I'm going to be with Susan Lucci. Who else am I going to be with? I think Lilius White, and I don't know who else, but I'm very excited for that. When do previews start? I think we're beginning on February 26th. So I'll be doing that for a month, and then I'm off back on the road, Aruba, which is not the worst road gig there is. And then I'm in New Jersey on April 6th. I got a lot of stuff going on in April 6th, April 19th, Sellersville. But yeah, Pittsburgh on the 25th. So I got a lot going on. So stay tuned for all that stuff. In the meantime, writing and working and not making any money. But, I can't, it's just, we have to talk about the fires because I am just so, I lived in LA for, God, how long? I had a place there for 10 years, almost. And I really love LA. Oh God, I developed, Mitzi Shore, who owned the Comedy Store, who, the best. She gave me Friday nights there's a room called the Belly Room. It's a room upstairs that was originally for women, but now it's for everyone. And I used to have the 8:00 show on Friday night. And I really developed, and I love LA, and I love my friends in LA, and I love going to LA. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're rich and they're this and they're not all rich, but I just keep thinking about what it must feel like to just not, to lose everything, to have the clothes on your back and your passport and your birth certificate and whatever else you grabbed, and to have no place to go. And a lot of these people, are my age, who spent their entire lives building this, life for themselves, and it's all gone. And I wonder what is going to happen when it sinks in, for real. I wonder if people will move back to other places, maybe where they came from, or, New York or wherever, because it might be too painful to rebuild. And the ones whose homes survived, the guilt they must have, and also who wants to live on a street that's burned to the ground. It's such a lesson about material possessions. And of course, yes, all these fuckers blaming this one, blaming that one. And it is climate change. I don't know if it's arson. I don't know. But, we have 100-mile winds. This has been predicted. It's terrible. It's just terrible. And then we have a new administration coming in that is just vindictive and petty and ridiculously, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It's just a shit show. And I want, I just keep thinking, and I'm sure you do too. I keep thinking about what it must be like to go reach for something and it's not there, or to think you're going home and you're not, and to wake up in the morning not knowing where you are and then being reminded, oh yeah, everything's gone. Memories. Think of the artwork, the musical instruments, the heirlooms, the history, it's just fucking awful. And anyone who is sitting here and just using it as a political tool or is a fucking asshole. They're fucking assholes. Ugh. And I don't know. It's been a shit week. And then I watched, this seems like, 5 years ago, but I watched Jimmy Carter's funeral. And looking at, first of all, I thought it was awful that Michelle Obama didn't show up. And second of all, I thought the conversation between Obama and Trump, they're sitting there laughing, and, Obama has to, take the bullet for everyone. But you look at Trump, he's like a child, and he's sitting there laughing and talking. And I just thought that was, I don't know what they were talking about, but it wasn't a good look. And, Jimmy Carter was, you can say he was a shitty president, or he did this or he did that, but everything's, great in hindsight. But he was an honest person and a public servant. And he might have fucked up a lot of things, but he did some good things. And he was a decent human being. Decency. Honest. That's now, oh God. And next week with the inauguration, it's a lot. It's a lot. Please, I'm praying for those people. I just can't even imagine not having a place to go, and how lucky we are that we have our homes. And yeah, I don't know. It's I want to go out there and help. I want to donate, but I think that, it's also showing how great people are. But my friends, I know people who lost everything, and my friends have bags packed, ready to go. So, yeah, so I'm thinking about them. And I'm thinking about our country and our democracy, and it's just depressing. But we do have a fantastic part 2 with Mimi Zieman, and we have some amazing guests coming up. Really, you're going to be so excited. So I'm looking forward to that, and hope, and I don't know what else. But why don't you just right now sit back, relax, enjoy part 2 of my interview with Mimi Zieman. Okay, so you go on this, and you're with, is it 4 climbers? You as the doctor, you're the only female, and you start this journey, and you have to read the book, but you didn't call them Sherpas. What did you call the helper people?
I called them the locals or Tibetans because unlike what you see nowadays, the Sherpas doing most of the climbing on the Nepal side, long lines, etc. We didn't see any other Westerners for the 4 months that we were on this expedition. And the climbers used no Sherpa support to get up the mountain. They used no supplemental oxygen. And they were attempting a new route, as you mentioned, on the east face, which is extremely remote and hard to get to, which is why it's almost never climbed. Even to this day, only about 15 people have made the summit from the east face.
Oh my God.
Compared to over like 11,000 from the
Right.
popular routes. Yeah. But we did need the locals' help to get all our stuff
Right.
to base camp.
They were assholes.
Well,
no, I'm just like, the way you write about them, that these people are like, nah, we'll go for a couple hours and then we're done. And you're all like, what the fuck? We're not staying here for 10 years while you are fucking lazy. And they sexually harass you.
Yeah. That's all true. It was a big culture clash, right? So we're on that Western timeline. We got to get there. We don't have that much time. And yeah, they were moseying on. In the beginning, they were herding yaks. The yaks were carrying our gear.
Right.
Then there was too much snow for the yaks, so the yaks quit. And then we had to try to see if we could get 120 locals to each carry a load and help us get to base camp. It was supposed to take 5 days and took us 3 weeks just to get to base camp.
And I mean, they are just sexually abusive in, not, they didn't rape you or anything, thank God, poo. But they were just so awful to you, and until one of them needs medical care.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the other reasons I wanted to write the book as the only woman, because as women, we put up with this extra shit all the time, right? We all do. We've all been harassed, right? And that's why I included some times that had happened to me at home in New York, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just that the Tibetans, were bad or anything, but especially mountaineering, you focus on the mountaineers, the story of the climbers. I wanted to focus on this person in the background, the only woman, and what she's going through. And it's often a lot of extra stuff.
It's interesting, the part where this guy needs help and you're like, no, fuck you. And then you're like, no, I'm a doctor and I'm here. It's, I don't know. There's just something about being a woman in these situations where you want to go, fuck you. Yeah. And you also realize these guys, it doesn't stay with them. Like you look at in politics today. He said that your father killed Ken, or he called your wife ugly, and they're like, it's all right. Like, no.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I heard you say you wrote this after taking a lot of classes about, writing classes, using yourself, thinking of yourself in the third person. And it's great. So we go through this entire situation. There's a lot of drama in the climb. You were on the covers of magazines. You talk about changing a tampon, having to pee. I mean, it's, and you tap danced. You literally, I can't believe you tap danced on Mount Everest, which is the photo on the cover. It's just an incredible story.
Well, I had so much self-doubt, and I wanted to be really honest about that in the book, because I wanted it to feel empowering for other people. Like,
Right.
you have that self-doubt. You may have dreams or things that you want to do, and sometimes you can just push through them and do, which is what I did. And it was life-changing.
And the fact that I've known you for so long and never knew that you climbed Mount Everest, the relationships with these men. I mean, I know from, like, as a comic, all the comics that I started out with, and I mean, it's not climbing Mount Everest, but there are things we have, getting stuck in the middle of nowhere with no help and trying to figure out how the fuck we're going to get home, or being, sharing these living spaces with these other comics guys I don't know. And I'm like in my little room, like, oh my God, and they're fucking waitresses. And, it just, like, all this kind of shit that it, brought up for me. Are you in touch with any of them?
I'm in touch with all of them. So yeah, you're painting a bro culture of comedy,
right?
And I was in the bro culture of mountaineering, and we have to kind of, like you're saying, like, you're hiding in your bed. Like, that's how I was. Like, I was keeping my little corner,
Well,
and
not
going
always.
And listening to Joni Mitchell when I needed. What's that?
Yeah, I said not always.
Not always. Yes, there was romance.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm friends with all of them. They've been really supportive about the book. And after the trauma we went through and the whole experience, it, like, bonded us.
Right. Of course. Yeah. That's how I feel with these comics, oh my God, you see them. And Elisa is always like, I never met them before. And you're like, I love you. And it's like, Elisa, you have no idea what we went through together,
Yep. Exactly.
Hey, everyone. Elisa and I, one of the things we love to do is scroll through the Redfin app and look at real estate in our area or in a neighborhood or where we're going. And she loves it because she works in the real estate industry. I love it because I get invited, to so many people's homes. It could be for Shabbat dinner. It could just be for an event. It could be, I'm on the boards of these organizations and they have these fundraising things. And I'm telling you, to be able to look up their addresses and see photos and how much square footage, it's just so fun. Scrolling real estate is so fun on the Redfin app. Whether you're looking to buy or rent your next place, you need the Redfin app. Redfin makes it fun to search all the homes and apartments in your neighborhood. And if you find a place you love, Redfin makes it easy to go see it in person. Just schedule a tour right from the app. Plus, if you're looking to sell, Redfin agents know how to get you the best price possible because they close twice as many deals as other agents. And with a listing fee as low as 1%, Redfin's fees are half of what others often charge. So, whether you're looking to buy, rent, or sell, download the Redfin app to get started. You're welcome. You are an OBGYN. You have worked, as a physician, but also as an advocate for reproductive freedom, reproductive health. You wrote the Post-Row Monologues, which is a fantastic theater piece. I actually was in the New York. We did a performance of it in New York, and it was.
And she stole the show.
Oh, I did not.
You did. You played the character based on me too, which was the most thrilling thing to watch you do.
Oh, thank you. And I think it's really important, and I want it to be produced, but I really want to talk about the situation here with abortion. You also, there was a boat, right? Was there a boat where you could do abortions in the water? Is that?
There's an international boat.
Right.
It hasn't come to the US as far as I know. It was mostly parked in Europe for countries where they couldn't do abortion. There was a line in the play about like maybe that will have to come here.
Yes.
I can't believe we're in this situation.
How did you get involved? And so, it's sort of a myopic thing with you that you are so focused on this. I mean, I get it. I mean, my mother wasn't one who was very political or anything, but she did work for the Jewish Family Service, and she did. We wore wire hangers
Mm.
around our necks that she got there. She voted. Her main issue was pro-choice. She was born in 1922. Can you talk about how it started? Do you remember when Roe passed in 1973?
No, and I was probably around 9. I don't remember. I don't really remember that. Do you?
No, I don't remember. I mean, the things I remember the Vietnam vets coming home. I
Mhm.
remember watching that. I remember Nixon resigning. I was so unaware until I was an adult that women couldn't get mortgages. They couldn't get credit cards while I'm alive. I'm like a 10, 12, 13 years old. It's
Yeah.
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. So I remember kind of in high school becoming aware of feminism.
Yeah.
I remember reading a lot about the ERA, and I write about that a little in the book,
Yeah.
that seemed like a no-brainer to me. Like,
Yeah.
what, of course, ERA, we should all have equal rights.
Right.
There shouldn't be discrimination based on your gender. So I had a single mother, I had a single grandmother. They had both been divorced women. So I watched them, create their lives, mostly depending on themselves, both having had really disappointing relationships with their husbands. And so I was told and I felt like you got to be strong and never rely on a man and depend on yourself. So, and then after that GYN appointment, and then finally deciding to do medicine, I went into medical school wanting to be an OBGYN. Like I just knew I wanted to take care of women. I didn't really like formulate this idea yet that I wanted to be a voice for women. Once I started doing advocacy, that became important. And now as a writer, I feel like this whole idea of elevating women's stories, elevating women's voices, and doing what I did as a physician, taking care of women just in a different way as an advocate, like advocating for women. And yeah, that's just been motivating me for a really long time. And what I did after general OBGYN residency is specialize in a field called family planning, which is all
Right.
contraception and abortion. So that really became my focus. I came to Emory School of Medicine and led their program and did a lot of research and education and training and have a contraceptive book that I've worked on 17 editions of.
Yeah, that's right.
So and more recently have just been writing op-eds on the topic.
When you started in this family planning focus, your focus being family planning, did you ever feel threatened? Did you feel unsafe?
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't hearing a lot about it, but were there always protesters? Was it always like that, even in
Yeah,
the 90s? And
it totally was. In fact, when I did my fellowship in family planning in San Francisco, and I shared a room with a young medical student who's an incredible person. She was taking the year off to start an organization called Medical Students for Choice. And she started it because they had received flyers in their mailboxes from these anti-abortion people threatening them. And she's like, no, 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 I'm going to start this organization, which has thrived ever since. But those were the years when they were murdering doctors who were performing abortion.
Right.
That there were several of them over years. My fellowship was 1 year, and I came to Atlanta to Emory for that first job. Drive in that first weekend, and there were anti-abortion protests on the street in front of the churches. It was a very hot topic, and I had little babies, and I did feel a little uncomfortable. Like I didn't want my kids threatened, right? I didn't want to speak out in public at that point saying, "Hello, I
Right.
abortion provider," but I would speak out at the legislature when they needed a physician opinion on things. For example, I remember going down because they were passing a law that pharmacists didn't need to fill birth control prescriptions if they felt that that was, you
Yeah.
know,
Against
a
their moral
conflict for them.
compass. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were a lot of instances like that where I could go down there and give my opinion about that.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think just like we are kind of threatened as Jews, we're definitely
Yes.
threatened in this field as pro choice physicians
Right.
to the essential health care that includes abortion care.
So you're aware of this and you're keeping a low profile. You're doing your work. Do you see or even believe that this would progress to where it is today? That I was certain that Roe v. Wade would never be overturned. I mean, you watch these justices lie through their fucking teeth. This is law. We're not redoing law. We're not. Can you tell me about the progression? And also, were you surprised?
I felt like you. I believed them when they said this was precedent and they weren't going to overturn it. The only hints I was really became aware in 2019 when here in Georgia they passed our abortion ban. And I was thinking, why are they doing that? It's unconstitutional.
Right.
Seems like a big waste of time. So at that point, I realized how big this movement was and how successful they were because there were a lot of states doing that. And I did go down and testify against that. I was one of over 100 people doing that. And we warned these legislators of everything bad that could happen that has now come to pass. So there's no excuse. They knew exactly that more women would die, that miscarriages would be a problem, that IVF would be threatened, that none of the major medical societies supported these bans, that they were going against essential healthcare. They were told everything and they didn't care.
You have probably seen, definitely have seen so many circumstances of young girls, victims of rape and incest. And how do you perform these essential and necessary surgeries without just wanting to grab these kids and hug them? And I mean, I couldn't, I don't know. How do you separate yourself from that?
Well, that's what's such a privilege. I mean, it really is the most rewarding thing to be there with people going through these things in their moment of need and being able to listen to them and be compassionate and respect them. It's it's such a concrete feeling of reward, to be able to do that.
Right.
It's just absolutely heartbreaking. People who choose abortion are doing the best they can with their lives. They're trying to take the best care of the children they have at home. I mean, studies have shown that when you deny people abortion access, the children at home live in more poverty.
Right.
These are people trying to do the best for themselves and their families. And to not allow that is just so cruel. And what we've learned since Dobbs is it's not stopping anyone from it is stopping some people. But the numbers of abortions have not gone down, they've gone up. So what is motivating these anti-abortion people to get rid of abortion? That's not happening. What's happening is they're making women's lives miserable. They're punishing them. To have to travel is just so
Oh,
cruel, and it makes medical care complicated, which is exactly what we've seen with these tragic deaths in Georgia. The fact that they had to travel, the fact that they didn't know what the law is, everybody's confused. All this is doing is harm.
hey everyone. Everyone seems to be, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed everyone's on a weight loss kick now. But most weight loss plans are one size fits all, right? And there's a company called Noom, Noom, which actually builds personal plans that meet individuals' needs because people are overweight for different reasons. A lot of them are psychological. A lot of people have dietary restrictions, medical issues, and your biology. And that's why I love Noom, because Noom takes into consideration all of this. It is like a personalized weight loss system that meets your lifestyle. It doesn't restrict you. You don't feel shame. One of my friends lost so much weight on this, and his life has completely changed and swears by it. He swears by it. So Noom uses psychology because losing weight really does start with your brain. And as someone who has struggled with weight my entire life, I know there's biological factors that affect weight loss. And this program helps you understand. That's what it's all about, understanding the science and psychology behind your eating choices and why you have cravings. It's time to get healthy. We know the effects of being overweight now. We know so much more, and everyone's journey is different. So that's why you need Noom. It's flexible. It focuses on progress. Noom will help you lose weight while still enjoying your favorite foods. And FYI, active first-time Noom users lose an average of 15 pounds in 15 weeks, and 95% of customers say Noom is a good long-term solution. And Noom is grounded in science, and I believe in science. So what are you going to do? You're going to stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com. That's Noom.com. And based on a 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. That is Noom.com. Have you ever had like an argument with a I can't say pro-life because they're not pro-life. They're not pro-life in any stretch of those two words. Well, I guess pro is. But have you ever engaged in discussion with these fucking miserable fucks?
I was actually on a panel, actually in a synagogue, and it was the person who heads Georgia Right to Life and me. We were not allowed to debate, but we were supposed to have a conversation. I don't know exactly the rules, but he said that he doesn't care that people are being denied their liberties because he and his Christian beliefs are absolute moral authority on the issue. That's the language that he used. And, it's shocking that someone can think that other people's religious beliefs don't count.
Right.
Other people's libertarian beliefs, ethical beliefs, whatever you want to call them. But
right.
That's how he frames it.
Do you find it's more male physicians who are anti-abortion or what would they call it? Pro forced birth? And how does that mirror you're dealing with these people? How does that mirror what you learned being on Mount Everest.
I don't think it's particularly men. The vast majority of physicians believe that abortion is essential healthcare and that people should have a right to privacy over their body and autonomy. I mean, medical ethics teaches we're supposed to respect people's autonomy to make their decisions, their privacy to make their healthcare decisions. So it's consistent with the oaths that we took to practice compassionate medicine. So most physicians actually support abortion care. And I don't see a big gender difference in the people that oppose it. Of course, there are physicians that oppose. I haven't seen that in my experience.
How do you not go like screaming in their fucking face? Like, how do you not get angry? You remind me of Gloria Steinem, half Jewish, who never let them see her rage or anger. And you present yourself in the same way.
You know,
How do you do that?
I learned that the hard way. The first time I went down to the Georgia legislature, I got really passionate
Right.
and I realized afterwards that actually took away from my message.
Right, because they were listening to your tone and not your
Yeah.
words.
So I actually learned it on the street, and I learned that being calm is much more effective.
What do you think is going to happen? How do you think this is going to pan out? How many more women have to die? I don't understand. I don't get it.
So my answer is changing with time because every day things are different. I believe in my heart we will eventually get our rights back. Now that I see what happened in this election, it's going to take a long time, much longer than I thought. But I kind of have to believe that. I have to believe that we'll get our rights back because otherwise it's too depressing. And I have to believe that because it motivates me to continue to stand up for these rights.
I mean, I grew up with stories of kitchen table abortions. My sister-in-law's family, a lot of doctors there, and we would discuss this topic. And what do you think is going on behind the scenes, or what do you know?
So thankfully now we have the abortion pill, which you didn't have back then. That's
right.
why you
That's not gonna. They're trying to get rid of that, correct?
Well, if they do, it'll come in through China or from India. Like there will be access. It'll be hard. It'll be expensive. We'll need a lot of underground groups. We'll need nonprofits. But that's what has saved a lot of lives. That it hasn't had to be like pre Roe v. Wade with the hangers and all of
Right.
that. So we have that. It's just ridiculous to have something be state by state, you know? I hope they don't do a national abortion ban. One of the things that's really helping us nowadays is having telemedicine access
Right.
and having shield laws in certain states. So those are laws that protect the physicians in Massachusetts, for example, to provide an abortion pill to someone in a red state by telemedicine, right? So you've got these pro-rights groups trying to protect physicians, women, and then you've got all the anti-forces.
What do you suggest for people like me? Like, I mean, I have a microphone, so I can talk about it. But what are these people? I have so many friends who are like so enraged and appalled. What is the best way to fight against this? What would you suggest that they could do?
I think know what's going on locally in your state. And that's where we've seen all the law passed, right? So we've got to get the right laws at our state level because right now it's all up to your state legislatures. And those elections, most people don't keep that much track of.
Right.
It's a little harder to know who's running and what they stand for. But I think that's really important. Look, to me, obviously, it's my most important issue, right? And it shocks me that wasn't true for most women because that's not the result of the election.
If you were in a room with, who's the worst offender on the Supreme Court? Who do you think the worst one is?
Oh gosh, it's hard.
Clarence?
Alito.
Yeah. All right. Say you're in the room with Alito. Okay. Because he's from New Jersey. You're from New York. All right. And he's like, sorry, I don't believe, what would you, if you had him alone for like 5 minutes, what would you say to him?
I'd say, why do you think it's fair to restrict health on women's bodies and not men's bodies? Doesn't that make it unjust to begin with? Shouldn't people have equal access to the healthcare they need? I'd like to understand that.
Who the fuck do you think you are telling women? Like, it's so infuriating. I want to fucking kill someone. I don't understand. There's no regulations on men's bodies. In fact, their stupid fucking Viagra is covered by health insurance.
Right. That should be taken away because it could lead to an abortion. So why are we letting that? Why are we letting that on the market? And it really, as you know from the play, pissed me off when Amy Coney Barrett said, so what? People can just have adoption.
Oh.
As if forcing someone to carry a pregnancy is no big deal.
Right.
And forcing someone to
give up a child.
Right. Is no big deal. And then for that adoptee to grow up wondering where she came from is no big deal. And that's why I made a whole character in the play about that, because that really pissed me off.
Yeah. What do you think about this whole IVF assault?
I mean, it's the same assault. I just want the people who care about IVF to care about abortion too. It's all the same reproductive health care. We've seen problems with miscarriage. We've seen ectopic pregnancy. We've seen molar pregnancy. And, now we've seen problems with embryos and IVF. Just say the politics should stay out of the exam room.
Right.
As doctors, we've trained a really, really, really long time to try to deliver the best care for people to keep them safe so that they don't die unnecessarily. And to impose these laws where that's happening.
Right.
It's disgraceful.
Also, I'm reading this article about these IVF families that have the wrong, they gave birth to the wrong, someone else's embryo. What the fuck is going on in these places?
Can you believe something like that could still happen?
Oh my God. And then that they bond with it's so crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mimi, you're the best. You're the best.
I love you, Judy.
I love you too. So listen, everyone, get this book, Tap Dancing on Everest. When are we doing the monologues, post-row monologues again?
We need to get a producer.
Okay.
And do the monologues again.
It's very important. Art can change minds. That piece is so important. But theater producers are scared. They're scared shitless about stories like this. I mean, I have problems doing my show about free speech.
I love that show. Oh, God.
Thank you.
You always make me pee in my pants.
Oh, God. And I've learned a lot about your peeing from reading the book. Also, it's, theater and art and now this anti-Semitism. It's like these stories are so fucking important.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So
we got to keep getting them out there.
Right.
And you're right. The industry doesn't make it easy.
Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of my interview with the amazing Mimi Zieman. Please get her book, Tap Dancing on Mount Everest, wherever books are sold. I would say Amazon, but he's a fucking asshole. But it's such a great read, and it's hopeful, and it's something, I think it's empowering, and she's amazing. So thank you for listening to that. This podcast was produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling, and marketed by Hallie Dercher. Again, the James, oh God, I can't even, there's something wrong with me. I mean, I really hate January, but whatever. On February 1st, which is when is it? It's February 1st, yes. The Shames, JCC in Tarrytown, New York, new theater. Get your fucking tickets. That's on Saturday, February 1st. And then I've got a lot of stuff coming. I'm going to be February 26th. For a month, I'll be in My First Ex-Husband, which is off-Broadway show written by Joy Behar. Oh, then I'm at the Comedy Loft in D.C. I'm so excited to go to D.C. March 27th. Then Aruba, the 30th. Got a lot going on. Boca Raton, April 9th and 10th. Sellersville, Pennsylvania, April 19th. Pittsburgh, April 25th. A lot going on. So February, March, April, here I come. January, go fuck yourself. So thank you all for listening. And please, I'm sending my love, prayers, I don't know what else, and empathy out to everyone in Los Angeles. Not waiting, not excited about the 20th, but I will be at Town Hall on January 20th. Town Hall in New York City. It will be streaming the Concert for America with amazing, amazing guests, including my friend Susie Essman, who is just the best. Just the best. On Monday, the day of the fucking inauguration, and just so many people, so many great Broadway people who are performing, and it's going to be streamed. So check that out, Concert for America, Inauguration Day. And stay safe. Everyone out in LA, I love you so much, and I'm so sorry. And you can come here and stay in my office. I wish I had a big fucking place for everyone to stay at, but I don't. Woo! That's it. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. And as we always say, so long.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.